So I'm an anything seller, and I grab anything I can make a profit on. So here's how I do quilts. Probably not too many videos on this, so I'm going to throw it out there. You just get 2 tape measures here, and there you go. So you lay it out and you pull the thing out, and of course you're going to flip it over after this, but you get your starting point, click, 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 and it's windy out, I'm sorry about the wind. And then this isn't perfect, I just laid it out. I think it's 81.5 by 97. So, you know, click, click, get those measurements. Come over here, and I wouldn't have that arrow in there, that's just to hold it down while I do this video. Get yourself out the shot. You're going to zoom in so your shadow is not in the shot. Click, 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 click. Focus on any bad spots. Once again, don't put yourself in the shot. Click. Any kind of fraying. There's one. Click. You know, you want to get any defects, because you already went over it once to give them an idea where the defects are. But then if you can get the tape measure in there too, in the shot, looking at the thing, they know the nasty tape measures on the bottom, or whatever the hell you want to call it. You know, get any defects, get any rips. Click. You know, there's another one. Click. You're gonna flip it over, which I'm not gonna do. Keep the video short. Where's my damn brand? Somehow I think my brand got flipped around. There it is. You're gonna flip it over. When you flip it over, you're gonna get the brand if there's anything in there. If it's handmade, it obviously isn't gonna have a brand. You're gonna focus on the stitching. If it's not handmade, or if it's not something manufactured, you're gonna focus on the stitching that you see. You know, get right in there and get the stitching, because if it's handmade, your stitching is not gonna be anywhere close to whatever. But if it's manufactured, you know, it's manufactured. It's built by machine. They really don't care about the stitching. But like, you see how the stitching is uniform? It's not going to be uniform if you have something that's handmade. It's going to be all over the place, because, you know, people and keep leaves and crap out of here. It's windy as hell. What you need is dry grass, you know, and a sunny day to do this. It's a little overcast today and windy, but I'll take it. So I think it's supposed to rain the next 2 or 3 days. So you want actually a lot more sunlight than this. I think I got some clouds kicking up. I got a little bit of clouds going on. So, but you want full sunlight, preferably about noon, so you don't have too many shadows. But you take what you can get. It rained like noon, so luckily the grass didn't get too wet, but it's not a perfect time to do this. And then you're going to throw this in some kind of program that's going to tell you what pattern this is. I honestly am far from an expert. I can't tell you, but somebody knows what this pattern is. It looks like a pretty common pattern. I just can't think of the name right now. But the main thing is get any defects. And then when you flip it over, if there's any other defects, get those obviously. Because you want any defects, because if you don't show anything, they're going to notice it. Like that right there. That little green patch right there, it's got that thing coming up. It's a huge issue. Now somebody's just going to tear this up and make something. People make like tons of other things besides just make a quilt out of this. But you know, there you go. So this wasn't stupid expensive, but some of them can make some good money, especially if they're handmade. But this is just how I do quilts, and just something to throw you out there, let you know. And yeah, flipping it over and back a couple times, sometimes you do catch a couple things, like that green one. I think I got that, but I'm not sure. I want to get all my photos in, and then I can be doing my listing while I'm doing something else today. But yeah, I got all my photos. I just showing you how to do this in the video. How I do it is you just throw it out in the grass. If you got something high, I got this nasty deck that's probably 30 years old. See? But it works. It's sturdy. So, and that gives me an overhead shot. A little bit better. You know, I'm not hanging from a tree or anything. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Some people like it on their bed. I like it outside because something like this, you really are. They're going to bring it to like a park or a picnic or whatever, and that's what they're going to really use it for. Maybe a family dealie. They're not going to use it for a bedroom, or they might, but you know, a lot of them are going to use this out in the park because it's already a little tore up. And yeah, I'll price it accordingly, according to that, and throw an offer out and kick it out the door and make a little profit. That's all I care about. As long as it isn't ending up in a landfill, that's my goal. But yeah, and like I said, it's a manufactured quilt, so there's a little thing, and this dang wind, yeah, isn't helping things. So on an ideal day, it would be a sunny day. Preferably, it's like 60 out. It's nice today, actually. There we go. That's exactly what you do not want when you're taking photos, but whatever. Anyway, video's over. I'm going to pack this up. I'm going to hit it with a whatever cloth to get all the bugs and, okay, buddy, to get all the bugs and whatever off. I'm going to have this thing fly off on me. Bugs and whatever, get all the bugs and whatever off, because when you flip this over on a nice bright day, when you flip it over and put that white side up, it's a massive attractant to bugs. So like you're gonna have to just hit it with a lint cloth and just hit the whole thing with a lint cloth. Spend like 5 minutes going up and down it, getting all those little, anything that got on here in the 10 minutes that you were doing this. Shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes. You know, I'm talking all this up, but there you go. This little whatever the hell that is, that was a bug. You know, you want to get all that off. But it's already been in the dryer. It's already, our washer, already been in the dryer. Probably where it tore up a little bit. You want to put it on like super delicate in the washer. Maybe even rinse. As far as stain goes, I don't even play around with it. All I do is put it in the washer with some, like with a pod, and I don't put anything in the dryer. No lint, whatever, no fragrance, whatever. Or I use fragrance-free stuff. And then when you bring it out here, you know, we're in the open air. That's going to let it air out a little bit more. Just got to make sure it's 100% dry. I use the, I have a dampness cycle on my dryer that like heats it and then it lets it cool off, and then it heats it and then it cools off, and that gets rid of a ton of wrinkles. But it also makes sure you don't overheat these as far as stitching goes, because the handmade ones, you can tear them up if you nuke them in a dryer. So you just want to put that on, like, if you have a wrinkle cycle, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But it's like a wrinkle cycle where it heats it and then it lets it cool off, and then it heats it and lets it cool off, and that pretty much gets rid of a ton of wrinkles. And it also makes sure that the thing doesn't get stupid hot. It's like a moisture setting. It's based on moisture. I don't know how the hell it works. But it works. Versus just throwing it in a dryer on high heat mode and hoping and praying that you don't nuke your colors, because some of these colors are like dyes and such. But yeah, I'm gonna get this inside because it's sitting out here and it's starting to feel like rain. So there you go, a little short video, under 10 minutes at least, of how I do quilts. And yeah, I gotta get this inside and let roll it all, and then I'm gonna put it in a box, or out, you know, get the listing up, put it in a box. I always ship them in a box. I don't ship them in a thing, because like I was saying, the stitching is crazy. Some of the stitching is crazy sensitive. If you put it in a poly bag and that thing gets crushed and smushed and whatever, you potentially can have that stitching tear, and nobody wants that. If you got something like a really high dollar coat, or even a really high dollar coat, high dollar jacket, maybe a high dollar hoodie even, you want that in a box. Or I put it in a box, because the stitching can rip, you know, stuff like that. Anything that's vintage, big old B, anything that's vintage and such, can you get those you can actually tear the stuff before it shows up if you throw it in a poly. So I don't throw these in polys. These go in a box. These go in like this one will probably go in a 16 by 16 by probably 4, maybe 5. I know I got 16 by 16 by 5 boxes, like as the stock size. And this will probably go in there, or maybe I can go 4 inches on that. We'll see. But you just fold it up, you know, and throw it in there. I'm gonna wad it up because I gotta lay it out and wad it up and get it in the house, and then I can lay it out and roll it out inside. But yeah, I mean, that's all you do. Like I'm saying, the wind's blowing, I ain't gonna flatten it out. Like I'm saying, just gonna wad it up after this and then get it inside, lay it out, fold it up nice and neat. And I got about a 16 by 16 square, and maybe a 15 by 15, whatever. And then get you a nice little square going on, and there you go. Throw it in there and kick it out and throw it in a box. But that's how I do quilts. There's different ways to do it. I'm sure everybody has a way. Some people just throw it on a bed. Some people do that and do this. And like I was saying, it's a generic quilt, but it is what it is. One of those things you got to be real careful, because you can get burnt on the price, especially some older ones. You got to know how to read them. There's so much info out there, and you can find anything these days. Anything you can search for, you can find. So there you go. This is probably going to be the thumbnail. This thing wadded up on the ground, which isn't what I want, but whatever. It's probably what the thumbnail is going to be. I don't edit these things. Y'all know that. And we got the clouds. We got some nice little overcast going on today. So it's not a perfect day to do this. Like I'm saying, if I could get a second here where the sun would come out, you've already seen it. You've already seen how the colors change depending on the sunlight. But that's another thing. This is natural sunlight. This isn't any kind of LED lighting or anything that's going to change the color. Obviously, I can't hang this on a thing. If I had an apartment or something, I'd still take it outside. I'd still find a nice green patch of grass, even if I had to go to a park or something, and shoot it in a park. If I lived in an apartment complex or something. There we are. The sun's picking out just a little bit, and you can kind of see how the colors change in a little bit. But yeah, it's not perfect, but some of them can be high dollars. So keep your eye out. You do find them in auctions. I've got Amish made ones too, but the Amish tend to snatch those if they're around. They tend to go to the auctions where Amish stuff is sold. So they know what it's worth. They know what time it is, and your margins are going to go to hell. If you can sneak in there and get in there without a quilt collector or a Amish or anybody in there that actually knows their stuff, you can get these things cheap, and get them for low dollar, and sell them for, I don't know, 50 to 100 is realistic. Some of them go crazy money, but none of this manufactured stuff. This is probably I'm guessing $50, maybe $40 quilt in the condition it's in, because I imagine it's vintage. It might have a date on that actual tag. I don't think it does. I don't think it does. It does not. So there's no date, but you use whatever the hell it's called. Make yourself a GTP that could tell you the pattern, that could tell you everything you need to know about the quilt. As you're becoming an expert on the quilt. And same thing if you're going to an auction and you see a quilt. If I had like this corner sticking out with this pattern, I could probably get the pattern right there, because it could probably project the rest of the quilt. Heck, if I got that corner, this corner, and then I got that, I could probably find out the measurements right off that without even measuring it. But I do like to give a measurement, because that gives them a reference to find out this flaw is in this corner, because they got that one and then this one, and this one's fat and then this one's skinny, so they can come up with a understanding of, okay, this is on the skinny measurement and it's at, let's go with 20 inches. There's a defect right there. This little spot is at about 30 inches and on the skinny side, and there's a defect. So whatever. And they make tons of stuff out of them. It's not just there's dang bugs coming out. It's not just it's not whatever. But yeah, all these little SOBs, these little things that are now jumping on here. And yeah, You let roll them, you get rid of all of them, but you can't do nothing about it, you know? You're outside. Just let roll it, you'll get all those puppies off, and then when you're folding it, just make sure you check for everything. But you're only out here for like 10 minutes usually. Like I was saying, when I showed you the click, 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 you flip it over, you do the same thing, you're done in about 10 minutes. I'm just shooting this video to give you an understanding, throw you a little bit different things you can look for at the auctions, and the state auctions, and maybe garage sales even. You never know. Some kid might have got his mom's house and she was a collector. And all that. There's the sun coming out. See how the colors changed? Yeah, see, that's natural sunlight. That's what you want. There we are. So, and of course, now I got tons of bugs on here. But like this right here, that's a defect. And like I'm saying, you're showing all four corners. You're showing a 360 degree of all the things. And then you're also showing in depth any of the defects. Usually it's about 20 pictures. Depending on the size of the quilt. Larger ones are going to need more pictures. Just is what it is. But yeah, this one's pretty tore up as far as defects. I probably got about 15 defects, and still it's probably going to get me like 40 bucks. And you just, it's another 40 in the bucket, you know, versus yeah, others. But yeah, it's pretty tore up. Like I'm saying, this is probably going to be an outside quilt that goes to a picnic, you know, something like that. It's not probably going to be somebody's bedding. But yeah, anyway, there you are. And that way, if you spill some wine on it and all that, you know, you only spent 30, 40 bucks on it, or actually probably 60 with shipping. Probably 60 bucks on it versus probably something similar that's probably 200, 300 these days. But you never know. Anyway, there you are. Yeah, don't use stuff like this unless you absolutely have to. I try not to do this on windy days, but it is what it is. You can't help it. It's windy and it's windy and it's overcast. But grass isn't wet. That's what matters. You obviously don't want to do it on grass. I don't like doing it on pavement because part of me thinks there might be a stain on the pavement. You know, you never know. Maybe somebody spilt something on the pavement. I don't like doing it on pavement. I will find a park if I had an apartment complex. Oh, I'm kicking it all over the place, and I do it in a park. But there you go. That's how I do quilts. Like I'm saying, I'm gonna get my tape measures here. Oh yeah, this one didn't even. That one has an auto recoil because it doesn't even lock. That's an old tape measure. And all you do is you lock your tape measures, and there you go. You make yourself a little bit of a grid, and there you go. I'm going to wad this up. There we are. I'm going to end this little video. Like I'm saying, make sure you lint roll it, because you will get bugs, and the bugs will die, and then you'll crush the bugs, and then somebody will, or the bugs will stay on there, and then you'll get a thing. I mean, you can throw it like that and kick some of them off, but just lint roll the thing. Just be careful when you're lint rolling it that you don't pull up your stitching. It's a possibility. But like I was saying, this is manufactured. Let me get a close-up on your stitching here. So you can kind of see how the stitching is uniform. And that's what I'm talking about. If it's all over the place, it's homemade. Or it's custom made. And obviously it isn't going to have a brand or any tags on it. But whatever. And even then, the patterns are usually something, they cut it out of something pretty generic, so the patterns are pretty, actually that's a bad example, there we are, flower in the middle and a couple things on the outside, flower in the middle, a couple things on the outside, but they try to make them as whatever as they can. And yeah, I'm going to throw this into AI. You just make a GTP and like ask it, give me patterns, give me brands, give me sizes, and make a listing, and it'll kick out a listing for you. And that way you don't have to know everything about everything, because I honestly, you can't be an expert in every little detail. And if you think you are, you might mess up and then you're saying something that's not accurate. And I'd rather admit I'm using AI than think I know something and it's not even close. So there you are. Yeah. And obviously there's clubs and all that, and trust me, if you got something wrong, they're going to correct you. It's not this pattern, it's that pattern. Oh, thank you. And check it real quick, and then yeah, it is. I'm an idiot, you know, and fix that pattern. But yeah, there you go. Just make sure you get any defects, because there's going to be defects, and lint roll everything. Anyway, longer than I wanted it to be. This is how I do quilts. Thank y'all.